ki khubor ka Batesi TV. Lawan Rashapi ta ka Frank Motors. Ka Tata Safari ka SUV ka bapaw tam jong ka India minta kalami ha ka jinglong batmai ringkat bat khatsan teligi features baningkong e ha ka segment. La play ye ki booking but ya ki jing tip bakam bnia one shaka Frank Motors lat ko ringi lani phone hau number hinyo not sausan ar not hinyo khanda hinyo lai.
Ka Sorkar Meghalaya klalong malapin kre ban Pynlut Haduh $100 million na kabenta ban shnaya arspa anyo polai teli bat ban kintiu kerdan ya plat araja arspa teli ki Anganwadi centers habarok kue ke jela jong ka Meghalaya. Ya kini ke jing tip lapin tip hadin ke jingalang ban phai din ya ka balapin ya do menteri Sorkar bape ya katna social welfare uba polling do minta kasngi ka arpa pratrik unaiwing. Habe keren bakla pathai khubor ba polling do ulaong bakawe ka jintlot jong katna trekam ka ding namar bakatnat kam don ni kibre ke betip benia ban pin kre ek detailed project reports bat kumjuru ban pin kre ek utilization certificates hakapor ka babyang. Nakliang u principal secretary katna social welfare u sampat kuma ulaong kani ka ding namar bakatnat social welfare ka hab ban pha ya ka kai phot shakisantli ki ministry jong ka Sorkar India. Makintup nadu ka Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Ministry of Minority Affairs but teng shakadona.
We reviewed the implementation of schemes which come under the Ministry of Women and Child Development like Shakham Anganwadi and Poshan 2 and also schemes like National Action Plan for Drug Demand Reduction, NAPDDR, Atal Vayu Adaya Yojana, Transgender Deen Dayal Rehabilitation Service and schemes for SCs and STs. And under the Ministry of Minorities, we reviewed the Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Yojana, PMJVK, and also under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, we reviewed the implementation of funding under Article 275 and also grant and aid to voluntary organizations working for the welfare of scheduled tribes. So the discussions were very thought-provoking, very fruitful and helped us build ourselves as a team. And the aim being to also increase the frequency of such exchanges in future. There is also the felt need to engage professionals who can liaise with the ministries in Delhi to facilitate early and prompt clearance of the various schemes, most of which get caught up due to our inability to meet the timelines required. So those were some of the concerns that were raised, and to supplement to my introductory remarks, I would request our Principal Secretary to give you a brief gist of what happened in the two-day conference.
This is a department which is so important because it is going to build generations, because it is working with the children, it's working with the women. So it's a very important functioning of the department. So what as part of the review and discussions, the focus was laid more on what are the problems that each of the programs are facing. How actually those programs can be really fixed or solved. So a lot of focus was given on identifying the problems and also identifying the solutions. So one of the important things is that, like, especially coming back to starting with the review started with Anganwadi services. So Anganwadi services are very important because Anganwadi services are covering almost like 6 lakh children in the state. So close to 6 lakh children, and so there a lot of discussion has happened how to actually really improve those services and what are the current challenges One of the challenges is that the infrastructure related challenges. So what the department in collaboration with the CNRD department, we did a joint inspection of all the Anganwadi centers in the state, and based on that, it was found that like 273 Anganwadi centers need to be condemned and new Anganwadi centers have to be constructed, and about 2,290 Anganwadi centers needs upgradation. So it's a lot of work now that has been taken up by the department. So we have taken, based on the discussions, the guidance given to the districts is that at a district level, the deputy commissioners level, the reviews will happen on this particular Anganwadi center infrastructure. And we are going to use both NREGA, MGNREGS money, and also we also are going to use some additional funds from the new ECD mission which is coming up, for which is in the final stage of loan signing with the ADB. So there is some support from the ADB mission also will come up, ADB project, that is the ECD mission. And so that's another thing. We also wanted to take advantage of the Government of India also can support if we actually initially construct, and we can also ask for some reimbursement from the Government of India. So those are the main in the particular discussion was that we need to really upgrade all the Anganwadi centers. So that decision has been taken, and which is going to be reviewed on a regular basis as a priority mission, like the way housing mission has been a priority for the state. ECD centers, are especially the Anganwadi center upgradation is also going to be a priority for the state. And whatever that's one discussion that what we had. And we also have discussed about the need for how actually we can strengthen the human resources. So again, there is we have new blocks have come up in the state, but whereas our ICDS centers are still 41, whereas the new blocks from 41, the blocks have come to 55. So a decision also has been taken to actually extend the entire project areas to all the new blocks by providing a dedicated human resources, that is like appointing a CDPO, and also the required support system, including we also the other thing we also discussed is that, in fact, as you all aware, the state government started covering uncovered villages with the help of self-help groups since 2022 January. But now there is a need. Everyone said, like, currently it is being done, essentially a take-home ration is being given to the people there. But there is a need for providing a proper Anganwadi services. So there also actually we have requested all the districts, especially the deputy commissioners, to come up with a proposal to set up the new Anganwadi centers in those uncovered villages. So those uncovered villages are about 1,500 uncovered villages. So there is again, for this covering these 1,500 uncovered villages, we also need to recruit some new lady supervisors in those areas. So a lot of discussion has happened how to build the systems, how to actually to strengthen the entire systems. So that's the focus that was given, and for every task, in fact, with the guidance of our Honorable Minister, we also have set up a kind of a timeline when we are going to finish each of these tasks. So those are the works that have been taken up regarding the Anganwadi services. Thereafter, we also had a review on the ICPS, which now it's called Vatsalya. ICPS is Integrated Child Protection Services, where actually a lot of support is given to the children in conflict with law, and also children who need care and protection. So there also a lot of discussion has happened. One of the decisions taken regarding that was that we also requested the district teams to come up with identify lands, to construct our own, the homes for the children. So that's where a kind of an initiative is being taken up. That's the second thing that has been done. And besides that, there's also a discussion has happened about the dream mission, which is, we are calling a dream mission, is essentially how we can make Meghalaya drug free, how to reduce the substance use intake. So there also a lot of discussion has happened, and on 5th, of course, there is a big program where actually this dream mission in fact, is going to the communities, where the communities are taking up initiative to set up drug rehabilitation centers. So that also process is going to be initiated. So a lot of, I think this is a more of an internal meetings, but essentially our aim is to, as our Honorable Minister says, that like we need to really transform ourselves to transform, the state in terms of various indicators. So that's where a lot of system strengthening work has been discussed, and clear action points have been identified for each of those the problems that have been identified.
You can tell us what is the deadline set for the different programs of the department?
So, for example, like mapping of this entire Anganwadi services, like where to set up that new Anganwadi centers, mapping, and there is also co-location of Anganwadi centers with the LP schools. So all that actually, there is a particular time frame is given. So for example, I would like to say, to do the mapping, we have given a 1 month kind of a work, so that like CDPOs will go back and work with the respective BDOs and educational officials to come up with this entire mapping exercise. So similarly to construction of these Anganwadi centers, again that also like will be working with the CNRD department, especially with the MGNRJ teams, to come up with this entire proposals. So that also like this will be done like during this financial year and the coming financial year. So in the next financial year and this financial year still we have another 4 months to go. In these 4 months and next financial year, all these upgradation and construction will take place.
Since so much of Anganwadi centers are being planned, so how much estimates you will plan?
So it is basically, it depends on the different models. For example, it also it ranges from like a 5 lakh unit for new construction to it can go to 8 lakh construction also. It depends on the size of the village, number of children that actually are going to the Anganwadi center. So we have about 4 or 5 different models. It's all flexible, not a single size. Basically, depending upon the size of the village, depending on the size of the number of children, these Anganwadi centers will be upgraded, and also new Anganwadi centers will be constructed.
So how many IC blocks are not covered with ICDS centers?
So I told you 41 we have, 55 are the total blocks we have. So some blocks are slightly urban. We might not actually go for all 55 project areas. Maybe we will go up to 50. But that again, that assessment is going to be done, and so accordingly the new ICDS projects will be extended to those new blocks. This is what we envision through ADB project is that we will actually support about upgradation for about 2,000 Anganwadi centers. So which will further upgradation, the additional amount, like where the villages will come up with the funds that are available with them under MGNRJs. In addition to that, we will be providing support ranging from 1 lakh to 2 lakh rupees for each center. And similarly for new construction, again it ranges between another 2 lakh support will be provided over and above the MGNRJs. So almost like if you ask me in terms of the $1 billion, about $15 billion has been actually is been currently tentatively earmarked for this upgradation and construction of the Anganwadi centers. So as I said, like these proposals are still, the loan agreement has to be signed. Still, actually, we are preparing. Before loan signing agreement, we have to come up with all the proposals where we are going to construct. What is that? Entire proposals have to be ready. So that exercise is being done now currently.
But from the discussion that we have today is that we want them to avail the prevailing schemes like Aadhaar card, then your these cards, ration cards. Those are voter IDs also. We just want to disseminate the information that they can come to our directorate, to our department to avail these facilities. The other things that we want to do at Translator, the meetings are going on. We are still waiting for updates from other departments, and ongoing meetings are going to be held on this.
What about the issues of stigma and discrimination against such sections of the society?
Yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Our job is essentially to ensure that there is no stigma, there is no discrimination. So that is the main discussions on that. That's why like they will get the ID cards, they will get everything that like any other citizen.
And on that also, we are having this wellness program from Social Welfare Department, which we are going to do capacity building and going into the schools and collaborating with them as to how to do sensitization on inclusivity.
In the absence of this final professionally collected data, one, and two, in view of the stigmatization attached to transgenders, I think that explains why we have just 3 entries in the electoral rolls. So our task as a department is to destigmatize first and to create awareness amongst society so that this vulnerable group is not made to feel that they are, they are a stigma to society, and then hence they will come forward and declare themselves as transgender. Well, we have received, for instance, under Dream Mission, we have received certain proposals from the Parshnoms that they are willing to part with land, for instance, and request us to support with infrastructure. So that's the kind of negotiations and discussions that are ongoing. And in fact, civil society has been very supportive, and we look forward to more such support from the community.